Howdy there. Just because I'm a couple days late doesn't mean I don't have builds. Um, but today's build is very different. I'm going to start in the subclass and explain why. Lightning Surge is kind of the unfortunate child of Prismatic's kit for Warlock, where Lightning Surge never has done a lot of damage and has never been particularly useful. However, it's always been kind of a little fun. Um, However, it is affected by the same curse that Titan's currently going through, where they can get triple consecration, we can get triple slide melees, all thanks to strand melees, which are really fun. I like the ability to triple up on abilities that we shouldn't be able to triple up on. However, that's the foundation of this build. Literally Arcane Needle and Lightning Storm, and this is the build. That's like the base plate. It's all you need to start. But exotic choice is kind of important here. Ultimately, I chose Swarmers, mostly because I run a very strand-heavy kit, and also the Unravel from Threadlings is very beneficial. However, because this is such a free-form build, you can realistically run whatever exotic you want. If you want to hunt down a Soliplism with Spirit of Synthoceps and Spirit of Heart of Inmost or Spirit of Necrotics, something like that, that is absolutely a good idea, and I don't discourage you from doing that because ultimately the exotic spot is secondary. All that really matters is the Arcane Needle Lightning Surge thing. But, of course, this can be overcomplicated exponentially. Because I'm running Swarmers, Threadling Grenades and Feed the Void are going to be very strong. Because, well, Threadling Grenades spawn Tangles, which spawn more Threadlings, and then Feed the Void is not only very, very good because of granting full health on every kill with Devour active, but it also grants grenade energy, which means I can just chuck around Threadling Grenades very freely. Ultimately, what you'll find is a lot of this build is very ability spammy. We have 3 lightning surges, and you want to bring out as many prompts of grenades and transcendence with just as much abilities as you can chuck at a set of enemies. Um, Fragment wise, ultimately only 2 of these are really, really necessary. That's the word I'm looking for. Facet of balance is ultimately something to make up for a little bit of lost melee time, considering Arcane Needle is, I believe, the highest melee cooldown from Prismatic's kit. Definitely going to want not only some strength, but you're definitely going to want Facet of Balance just to make up for some of that lost time due to the cooldown. So, should go for that. And then kind of Devotion and kind of Sacrifice. Sacrifice is really beneficial due to the fact that Devour is a light buff, therefore you can very easily just get a bunch of Darkness energy by prompting Devour once and then running things down with Lightning Surge. You'll just get a bunch of Darkness energy off of a bunch of light energy. Facet of Devotion is a thing that's kind of benefiting from Swarmers. Ultimately, because the Threadlings with Swarmers unravel, a bunch of Darkness debuffs are getting sent out. Facet of Devotion is just to make up for some extra light energy from Darkness abilities. That whole fun thing. Ultimately, Facet of Grace is also a very beneficial fragment. Because of how Prismatic works, and because of how this kit pans out, where most of your abilities are light-centric, or being used as light energy at least, Facet of Grace and a very good kinetic weapon will go a long way in getting you the Transcendence, which is very good. Ultimately, I use Kvostov, but I've seen people run Witherhoard, I've seen people run Outbreak, I've seen people run Blast Furnace, Submission, a whole bunch of different weapons. Just get bunch of things rolling. Facet of Protection is ultimately also unnecessary, and it's just kind of there to keep me alive a little bit longer. As much as Devour does a lot of that, I still think the damage resist is beneficial, but if you do not find it necessary, Facet of Dawn, Facet of Blessing, Facet of Courage, Facet of Dominance if you're not running Threadling Grenades and running something like an exotic class item, go for it. Song of Flame is also very in tune with how this plays, where Song of Flame is just all of the ability spam. Ultimately, again, if you go for Heart of Inmost Light, I do not recall if Song of Flame benefits from it, but I do know full well that Transcendence does. Therefore, Heart of Inmost might not be a bad call for this build. Like a Heart of Inmost Synthos, which that feels very Titan, and honestly, this stat profile does feel very Titan. Um, looking in mods, it's pretty cookie cutter for what it's worth. I run heavy-handed double momentum transfer because honestly, you're going to need that melee energy more than you're going to need the grenade energy. So I just went double momentums, and then heavy-handed is to get orbs for surges and also invigoration. Uh, Otherwise, kinetic siphon, double or heavy finder and scout, and then chestplate is chestplate. Util Kickstart and Reaper are also not bad. Ultimately, if you want to run literally anything in this back slot, I go for it. Because ultimately, it is not very, very necessary. But it's basically the build. I don't know. Something about giving the idea of a Titan build to a Warlock is very funny to me. Because I've been playing Consecration Titan for like the last couple weeks, basically. And I was like, I wonder if Warlock can do something. The answer was they could. They definitely could. I've been hunting for a good soloposm down here. Ultimately, I have not found a good one that I really want to use for this build, but in the scenario that you find one or you have like a Synthos one laying around, I implore you give triple Lightning Surge a shot and then just like basically run whatever you want up here. Because like ultimately the lightning surge doing most of the work and everything else is kind of just like on the side. But yeah, that's all. Sorry for being a couple days late. I'll see you all around.